Snow, especially in Jerusalem or Bethlehem, is very rare. It's an exceptional event, though in the far northern part of Israel there is a ski resort, all about height and elevation. But that beautiful piece that we just heard speaks about the rare event of snow, and it's connected with that incredible event of Jesus being born in Bethlehem. Are any of you wearing anything that you were given for Christmas this year? New. Some, yes. Clothing, jewelry, whatever. Many get new types of clothing under the tree. Often that is a gift that's given. Others wait to Boxing Day and the deep discounts. I'm so cheap I wait till the end of January. When all the returns come back, they bring the returns, they really knock them down, and that's when I buy them. The bargain basement. This Sunday after Christmas is traditionally what is known as a low Sunday. Not every congregation is open. A warm welcome to those here today from one of those congregations. This Sunday has a bad reputation. Lower attendance compared to Christmas services? I wouldn't say so. Many people who attend Christmas Eve services aren't there the following Sunday. They're still recovering from the sleepy effects of turkey. There's also that letdown. Christmas is a high. It really is. Not just spiritually in our faith, but in our lives. We've decorated, we've prepared, we've planned, we've been to social gatherings. We've lived out of the ordinary, and all of a sudden, December 26 happens, and whoa. There's that subdued nature. So many people say between Christmas and New Year's, they're not sure what day it is. Especially if you're not working. There is that in-between time. There's also that sense, and Val mentioned it, that next Sunday after service, we're putting Christmas away. For many years, I strongly encourage we kept all the poinsettias till Valentine's Day. I lost that with many others. It's a huge job to keep them watered and looked after, but after next Sunday, you're welcome to take yours home. But you're welcome also to give us a hand taking the decorations down. But there's also that jumping in the readings. On Christmas Day and on Christmas Eve, we were talking about a baby, and we've just had a reading about a 12-year-old Jesus getting lost in Jerusalem. Wow. Went through toddlerhood, terrible twos, just like that. Or is it more of the story of the parents getting lost? Interesting story. But we go through that quick transition. There's a sense that we have lived with such intensity, and now we dial it back. But the message of the baby transcends low Sundays, high Sundays, in between Sundays. For key leaders in a church, for staff, there's a sense, oh, we did it. I keep checking leading up to Christmas Eve, what will the weather be like? I pray no freezing rain. So there's that sense of change and transition, the sense of just laying still. This year it's exaggerated because we have tried not to book anything in the 2 weeks between when the kids get out of school and when they get back, because of the major renovations taking place, because of the flood damage that's being dealt with on the lower level. And in the kitchen, we found out it's much more extensive than we thought. So the contractors are working for the insurance company doing that. So there's a sense that even things we might have had going aren't happening. So after saying all that, I challenge you. While the church life may be less, while our social activities may be less, the message of the manger is not less. What was it the angel said? Do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Today in the town of David, a Savior has been born to you. He is a Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign. You will find a babe wrapped in swaddling cloth and lying in the manger. This message is not time dated. This message does not become stale the further we get from Christmas. It's as much value on June the 25th as December the 25th. As a student minister, I used to always preach on the Sunday after Christmas. I never saw it as a burden but a blessing, for there was that afterglow. It does not fade as the months go by. The liturgical calendar I showed to the youth that came forward, as we go through the different seasons and the different colors of the church year change, the message does not change. Its value does not change. Every few years, Walton has Christmas in July. And maybe you've been here. It's a wonderful time. We sing the Christmas carols. We have the Christmas anthems. We have the Christmas readings when we have shorts and T-shirts on. And it's not just because it's fun to do. It reminds us that Bethlehem is there in the heat of summer. It also reminds us that at this moment in the southern hemisphere, it is summer as we are in winter. So that message of the cradle is for both sides of the equator. This can be a pivotal time to reflect. And not just to make New Year's resolutions, but to the sense we have that pause, many do, to look back and think, how can I readjust? What did I learn this year? What am I going to fine-tune as I go to the new year? In Acts, we're told, upon the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul preached to them. And I think it's significant that the Christian church moved worship from Saturday, the Sabbath, to Sunday. That we have worship on the first day of the new week to look forward to the days ahead. It's not, if you will, the end of the week, but it's the start of the week. Ever since the early church to today, there's that sense of Christians gather. On Sunday, they may gather at other times. Wednesdays is often a popular time. The time they gather on Sundays may vary, but there's that sense of the family of faith coming together and worshiping and praising God and looking to be prepared, sent out at the end of the service into the week ahead. So I began by asking you, did you get a new Christmas outfit? In Colossians 3:12, the epistle reading we heard earlier, we hear about clothing ourselves, not in the newest outfit from Cleo or Reitman's, Old Navy, or Moore's. The reading instructs believers to dress differently. And that's not to wear black and white, as some Christian groups do. But we are to clothe ourselves, we're told, with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. So this reading uses the metaphor of clothing to emphasize 5 virtues which could be pivotal to one's Christian character in our daily wear. So let's look at the meaning of each virtue. First, compassion. That's an empathy which leads to action, helping alleviate others' suffering. Before the service, if you were looking at the announcements on the screen, there was a thank you from our outreach committee for the incredible generosity of this congregation, both physically and financially, over the year. Over 1,000 mitts and gloves. All the coats donated to the coat drive. The mitten trees that were full of mittens. The white gift given. The gift cards shared. Money's given to the benevolent fund. All ways of showing compassion. The next item we're to address in is kindness, affection, benevolence, consideration towards others. I mentioned the benevolent fund, and that's something that we all do confidentially. The person at the end of the pew you're seated on may have got some help, but you would never know. Person you might see living under the bridge here in Bronte might have got some assistance, but you'll never know. The youth wanting to do something but not having the funding will have got the funding, but you would never know. It's that confidential kindness we pass on as a group of believers. The third thing that we can wear, we're told in the reading, is humility. And that's true humility, not posing or fake humility. Realizing that our abilities are a gift from God. We have been entrusted with those abilities. We have been gifted them. They are something that God has instilled in us, and we are called to use. So we are to dress, if you will, in a modesty of humility. Be patient with those who have different views than us. Be patient with those who do things differently than us. Sometimes gathering with families these last few days, we've had to be reminded of that, haven't we? The fourth thing we can wear is gentleness. A gentleness. And that doesn't mean you're weak, incapable, that you are abused. A gentleness, but with an inner strength. It's about how we live out in relationship. That as Christians, we should be a smooth fabric like silk rather than an irritating fabric like burlap. You take a piece of silk and go like this on your face. You take a piece of burlap and you know the difference. In our interactions with people, we need to be more like the silk. And the fifth thing that we are to wear is patience. I read a meme yesterday that said, I was waiting in line for the gift of patience, but the line was so big I just left. It's something that's so hard to live out, to be patient. To be patient. I was going through a drive-through recently, and there was this car going through, and they were obviously stopped going on their phone, and the person behind didn't think they were moving fast enough. There was a big gap. So the person literally went up over the curve, went over the other curve, and got in front of them. I thought, there's the suspension. But that was an example of impatience. Maybe a polite tap, a toot on the horn. Again, is our patience like sandpaper, irritating people? Or is it like that beautiful flannel that feels so nice against the skin? So Colossians says, God's chosen people, holy and dearly loved. And Corinthians says, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, they are a new creation. The old things have passed away, and behold, all things have become new. So Colossians says, wear these virtues in the newness brought by our relationship with Christ. We are to cultivate those virtues. And the thing is, those virtues don't wear out. Isn't it a sad day when you've worn your favorite clothes again and again and again? You're just so comfortable in them. I've had people come up and say, oh, Jim, your collar is showing here, it's broken, you know, the little tab that holds it in place, it's popping through. Maybe it needs to go to the recycle bin. Or we wear our pants so much they become holy, and it's not in the holy, holy, holy manner which we start worship. And it's that you get rid of them, and there's a sadness. But the clothing that Colossians tells us to put on, it doesn't wear out. Those virtues do not wear out. They're priceless. They are as new as the day they were first worn. So wear them. Live those virtues, whether you're wearing a snowsuit or a bathing suit. Wear them. Happy New Year.